Blimey, what a day. All I've had is Giorni do this, Giorni fetch that. I tell you, my boss is living on past glories. He's only a librarian now, not the rich posh bugger he once was. I used to serve someone proper, Count Waldstein himself, and this fellow turns up, and for the last 10 years I get reassigned. Don't get me wrong, I know my place. I was born to be a servant. But waiting on someone with no title, no money of his own, and a face so scarred from the pox it frightens his own dogs, well, that's not what I was expecting. This guy's got, well, he had a bit of a reputation, something of a ladies' man. But his inkwell is getting pretty dry now. I suppose that's why he can't help reliving his past. He spends all his time writing his memoirs, like anyone is going to want to read those. He's already up to 8 volumes and reckons he'll have it finished in 12. 12? Seriously, I suppose if it was 12 volumes of filth, then people might buy it. But he's filled it with all sorts of other stuff. What he was wearing, what he had for breakfast, what he said to the fishmonger. It's boring, I tell you. I've forced myself and I've skimmed through a few volumes. Not that reading's my strong point. And I've already found a few corrections that need doing. For example, when it works, he likes to use a cover. No, not for his books, he's written that he tests them first. No good comes from slipping on a sheep's intestine if it's got a hole in it. So he says in his journals that he blows them up to see if they leak. Well, I swear to you right here and now that that's a lie. Oh, he gets them imported from England, right enough, once a month like clockwork. But it's not him who gets to blow them up, is it? Every month, he shoves them in my hand and tells me to go and give them a good blow. Like I said, I'm a servant. I get the shit jobs, but blowing, that's not a job I was expecting, I'll tell you. And just so you know that now he's lost his fortune again, he gets the cheap ones. By the time they get here from England, half of them are falling apart and the rest are mouldy. But I still have to test them all. And then on top of that, I have to wash the good ones for him once he's, saves him some money, doesn't it? Joys of being a servant. But me and the other servants, we all talk, you see. It's all well and good for the rich to have their fancy books, but down here, we talk about what's going on. Who's after who could, and who couldn't. Now my boss, Jack, he's always making notes, so he doesn't forget stuff. And in one of his notes, he talks about Molly, one of the serving girls here. He's had his lunch served in his room by her, the same blooming seafood that he always has. And then Molly has succumbed to his charms, and as he's written, rolls over for him. This is what he's put, mind you. Well, it certainly was Molly who took him his oysters, but she clammed up as soon as he tried it on. Jack's nearly 70 now, and I know Molly, if you get me meaning. And if she had opened up, then my old boss would have had a heart attack, I tell you. Still, it's not a bad way to go, I suppose. Molly and oysters. So maybe I'd lose the sheep's intestines. Anyway, if you want an idea of how odd this guy is, he has this list of all the women he reckons he have returned his favours. I'm not good at counting. I only ever need to get to 16. That's the number of places around the grand table. But he's got pages of women's names written down. Sometimes there are 2 names on one line. I'm not quite sure what that means. Perhaps he can't remember their name or something. But looking at him now, though, I reckon he must have paid for some of them. And down here, the girls don't call him a looker, that's for sure. Though if he was paying for it, that's probably where he got his pox scars from. Now, I shouldn't tell you this, but 4 years ago, something happened. And I'm only mentioning it because I saw her name on this list. And well, it's just not right he claims her as one of his conquests. We had a duchess who's visiting the count. Only a minor duchess, mind, but she's got a fair bit of money behind her, and she decides to stay here for a few weeks as part of her grand tour. Old Jack, he knows about this money, so he sets his sights seducing her. Apart from the ducats, she hasn't got a lot going on. I mean, she must be as old as my old nan, but he's plastering on the charm so thick I could have laid a mosaic on it. Anyway, after a couple of days, he finally talks her into coming into his rooms for a bit of indiscretion. And she turns up close to midnight. He'd been writing his journals all evening, so I let her into his rooms and start cleaning the study, whilst he entertains her in the bedroom. Well, it doesn't take long before Jack comes back into the study, pleading for my help. The fire in his personal room had gone out completely, not a bit of wood catching spark. And he says, the Duchess is on his bed, skirts hitched, waiting for him. That's the thing with posh lot, I suppose. There's no finesse. As long as it takes him, so long to get dressed, They don't have time to appreciate the finer things in life as us peasants do. Personally, I'm all for a bit of skin rather than 12 layers of curtains, but I suppose that's just me being common. Anyway, Jack whispers to me to go in there, blow the candles out as I enter the room that is, and do what he should have been doing. I take a peek through the curtains, through the doorway. I'm sure that 40 years ago, the Duchess was a fine-looking woman. But all I could see was her on her back, with her eyes closed and her legs spread. I looked down. I looked down. Well, if we're sticking with oysters, it had been in the sea for far too long and it was looking right at me. It may just have been the candles, but I swear it winked. Anyways, Jax holds up a shiny gold ducat, thrusts one of my previously tested condoms into my hand and shoves me through the doorway. My neck is on the line now. If I get caught in a room with a Duchess and with the remains of a sheep's gut in my other hand, I'm going to be hung. So I do the only thing possible. I start blowing out the candles as quick as I can. I walk up to the bed. I blow out the final candle. But I can't get the image of that thing winking out of my head. No wonder the boss had problems. Oh dear. And now I'm in the same boat. No amount of oysters is going to get me to fire. I'm in a serious bit of trouble now. I can't be seen by her. And if I don't act quick, she's going to open her eyes and see me, and I'm going to be for the chop. As I'm trying to work out what to do, warm wax starts dripping down my hand, and I'm realising I'm still holding the candle I've just blown out. So I'm standing there. Warm candle in one hand, sheep's gut condom in the other, Duchess on the bed. Us servants, we may not be bright, but we can't half improvise to save our own skins. Well, how I managed to pull the whole thing off, I still haven't worked out. Perhaps the Duchess had taken on too much Dutch courage before coming up to the rooms. But when she was finished, I slipped back into the study, and Jack slipped back in before she opened her eyes. Unfortunately, though, for Jack, it turns out the Duchess was disappointed. She had expected more from the fabled lover, so she never returned, and he never got his hands on any of her money. I never got me ducat either, but he still put her down on his list of one of her conquests. I tell you, if his journals ever get published, and if you ever see them in the library, I'd say stay away. He's calling it the story of my life. How very grand. But I tell you, it's mostly about living in posh places. So, you be warned, his life is about as believable as me being an a posh-knob. And if you want to know the truth about any of his so-called conquests, just come and have a word with me, mention the lady's name, give me a wink. No, actually not a wink, no, it brings back flashbacks. Anyway, just ask me, and I'll tell you if Giacomo Casanova really did sleep with them. Yeah. Thank you everybody. Now please welcome Sue Ship.